Most High put together. We gon' see. In times. Serpents lurking, watchers watching, Yasharala stay on point. They lurking. We under the covenant, we ain't got no other choice. Gird your loins up, armor up, cause it's time for war. We the generation that's gon' get on one accord. Serpents lurking, watchers watching, Yasharala stay on point. We under the covenant, we ain't got no other choice. Gird your loins up, armor up, cause it's time for war.
Praise the Most High. And the other question I had for that, because I'm trying to tie a bunch of things together, and if it's okay with the panel, I'd like to actually show my face.
No problem.
If that's
here,
cool.
brother.
Okay. Like I was saying before, I'm mixed. I'm half white, I'm half black, but I believe black people are God's chosen people. And I want to be a servant of the Most High, but I also have Gentile blood running through these veins. And I don't know what to do about it. I've prayed against the sins of my ancestors, but I'm trying to be a part of the family. You said support. I'm a disabled vet. I don't know if you guys can see that. I've had some surgeries. I fell into that garbage about serving the US and all that other nonsense. I've been there, and it cost me my mobility. It cost me nerve pain, so I got constant pain 24 hours a day. I'm not getting the service that I need. I've been called every by name that every single one of you has been called. I don't have a lot of money, but believe it or not, I try. I try and support my brothers and sisters where I can. I'm trying to start my own business. I want to go back to Africa because I want to rebuild the continent. I have my own ideas of what I want to do over there. So for Brother Yehuda, where do people like me stand if I'm going to be your servant? How can I expect to be treated? I get the whole full Gentile, whatever, but for somebody like me, where do I stand with you in the family is just kind of what I want to know, just respectfully. And
all
with
right,
that,
King, I can respond, my brother. I appreciate you, bearing your heart a little bit. And,
and I want to respond after you too, brother. You got it.
Praise the Most High, right? So what I'm going to say may be a bit controversial to a lot of people, you get me? But I'm just going to call it as the Most High tells me through his new covenant Holy Spirit, right? So what the Holy Spirit shows me, my brother, right, is in Deuteronomy 28:46 says, and they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder and upon thy seed forever. So if the curses of Deuteronomy 28 are upon you, my brother, then that's the Most High bearing witness that you're an Israelite, regardless of what the people them say, right? Now, here's what may be perceived as controversial, right? So, because, for example, just because you got a mix don't mean you're not an Israelite. For example, Moses' kids, he had kids with the Ethiopian, with the Midianite woman, or I think it was the Midianite woman anyway.
Right.
And they were Levites, brother. It says they were called after the tribe of Levi in the book of Chronicles, right? And then check this out. Here's the controversial thing. Look, in Acts chapter 16 and verse 1, it says, then came he to Derbe and Lystra, and behold, a certain disciple was there named Timotheus, the son of a certain woman which was a Jewess and believed, but his father was a Greek. So Timothy, right, who Paul wrote the letter to Timothy, yeah, his mother was an Israelite, his dad was a non-Israelite, yeah. And verse 2 says, which was well reported of by the brethren that were at Lystra and Iconium, him would Paul have to go forth with him and took and circumcised him because of the Jews which were in those quarters, for they knew all that his father was a Greek. So because the Israelites knew that Timothy's dad was a Greek, Paul circumcised him, right? So what was the circumcision supposed to prove to those Jews? Check it out, right? Romans 2:28, Paul's own words. He says, for he is not a Jew which is one outwardly, neither is that circumcision which is outward in the flesh. So Paul literally said that the sign that you're outwardly a Jew is to be circumcised in the flesh. So by Paul circumcising Timothy, a man whose mother was an Israelite and his dad was a Greek, he was showing, he was declaring that Timothy was still an Israelite through his mother, okay, which is something that most Israelites don't accept. But we can see Timothy's dad was a Greek and Paul circumcised him right after Acts chapter 15, where Acts 15 and verse 23 declares, and it says this, verse 24 says, for as much as we have heard that certain which went out from us have troubled you with words, subverting your souls, saying ye must be circumcised and keep the law, to whom we gave no such commandment. So Acts 15 is clear. The Gentiles that come into Christ, that are going to serve the Israelites, they don't have to get circumcised in the flesh. So the fact that Paul circumcised Timothy was showing that Timothy was still counted an Israelite, even though he was mixed race with a heathen father. And the last point I'm going to show you, brother, and this is, there's verses that Christians will never show you, but guess what? There's also verses that Israelites will never show you. Here's one of them. So this is the last one I'm going to show you for now, brother. First Chronicles, and the point is, if you caught the drift, either way, you're going to be an Israelite, my brother. You're going through the curses. You got an Israelite foreparent. I don't believe it's even your father you mentioned, bro. So either way, you better keep them commandments, king, so these Gentiles can be serving you. All right. And this is, and if a Gentile wants to serve the Most High, they can keep the commandments. You get me? And he'll make them joyful in his house of prayer, but they'll be serving the Israelites. That's Isaiah 56. But back to the point, yeah. So I can let my brother Mariah cook. Check it out, yeah. First Chronicles chapter 2, verse 31. It's giving you a list of a genealogy of the tribe of Judah. And it says, and the sons of Apam, Ishi, and the sons of Ishi, Shishan, and the children of Shishan, Ahalai. So this man called Shishan has a kid called Ahalai. Pay attention to verse 34. Now Shishan had no sons but daughters, and Shishan had a servant, an Egyptian whose name was Jaha. So it just said Shishan had no sons. So that kid of Shishan in verse 31, Ahalai, that was his daughter. And it just said that this guy, he had an Egyptian servant, right? And verse 35 says, and Shishan gave his daughter to Jaha, his servant, to wife, and she bare him Attai. So now this Israelite man, he sinned, because it's a sin for Israelites to marry non-Israelites. That is a sin, yeah? However, this man sinned and made the Egyptian marry his daughter. But check what happens next. So, and Attai begat Nathan, and Nathan begat Zabad, and Zabad begat Ephel, and Ephel begat Obed. So we start to see a genealogy starts getting counted from these children of the Egyptian man and the Israelite woman. And in the genealogy, the lineage of these kids is counted as the tribe of Judah. And how are they counted as the tribe of Judah? They're counted as the tribe of Judah through their mother, and then through their mother's father, and then through their mother's father's father, etc. So what that actually proves is an Israelite woman who marries a Gentile, her children are considered Israelites through her father. They become the seed of her father. And just to land with this final verse, just to prove it. So when you get to First Chronicles chapter 9, that's when the genealogy stopped getting counted, right? And it says this in First Chronicles 9 and verse 1, it says, so all Israel were reckoned by genealogies, and behold, they were written in the book of the kings of Israel and Judah, who were carried away to Babylon for their transgression. So it says that the children of Israel, they were counted by their genealogies. So when you're reading First Chronicles from chapter 2, it's only Israelite genealogies that are getting counted. So the fact that this kid, Attai, and his genealogy is being counted, it shows that he's one of the children of Israel who was counted in the genealogy. So the point being, my brother, what distinguishes you as an Israelite is if you got an Israelite parent and you still go through the curses. Now, if you mix out your seed to the point where you are no longer going through the curses of Israel, that's a sign that you're not an Israelite. Because above everything else, the one thing that God gave us all, how we all know we're Israelites, the curses are the sign, my brother. You get me? So with that, hopefully you can be convinced you're an Israelite. Keep them commandments. The servants are for you, King. Yeah, man.
Roger that. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Bro, I definitely like to tell you, man, that's not the gospel and what he's talking about. In order to be a part of the gospel, you have to believe in Jesus Christ, the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. You have to believe in what he did on the cross. And
he gon' send his hand. Destruction gotta come, that's how he get us out this lane. The devil working hard, trying to get us out his plane. His sheep hear his voice, so he can't get us out his hand. We gon' trust the son of man, blow your wings, Father. Your kingdom coming, we just trying to make it in, Father. Rather we